Vladimir Tzepesci, champion of the Old Faith. What if a compassionate Menite priest had reached the wounded Vladimir before the Old Witch did? The ancient heritage of the Old Faith could appeal to something within the last Horse Lord, and the Protectorate's presence in Lael would have presented him a chance to revive the Kingdom of Umbri. And with Vladimir Tzepesci being able to revive the Kingdom of Umbri as his birthright as a Horse Lord, was actually one of his biggest pushes towards, all of his stuff. So, and originally the Old Witch found him in the swamps of the Thornwood Forest after he was, knocked down or cut down by somebody, and she, basically got him back to health. But what if a Menite priest found him and got him into the Warriors of the Old Faith in his Horse Lord blood? Let's read his Mark 3 to Mark 4 changes, since, of course, we do not know that much about him because this guy doesn't exist, because he is in an alternate universe. And will he be in Mark 4? Right now, no, not yet, because he came out during a league play, I guess, with a bunch of alternate history warcasters. But let's read about his Mark 3 and kind of make assumptions on what he could be if he ever did get boosted up to a Mark 4. But we will always start with his stats. So speed 6, mat 7, defense 15, armor 16, focus 7, because he's always been a very, very good warcaster, and his control range is a 14. His weapons are Fate and Destiny, which is different from his big old sword he got with the Old Witch on his version 2, but Fate and Destiny. Fate has a reach of 1 inch, a power of 13, sorry. I'm reading this off the Warmachine University since they always have updated stuff for the Mark III. He has Blood Boon, so anytime he kills somebody with that weapon, he can cast a spell that costs 3 or less without having to spend the focus. And then his second weapon, Destiny, a range 1, 10 melee, has a magic type, like both of his stuff. And his feat would be Crusade. So friendly faction models beginning their activation in Vladimir's control range gain +2 speed and +2 strength. The Warjacks in Vladimir's control range, beginning their activation in his control, can run or charge without spending focus. So that is a very, very heavy ability, because giving your guys +2 speed and +2 to their melee damage rolls is always a very useful and very dangerous. And it gives it to everybody, which makes it a little bit better than his Blood Legacy from his version 2 that he got after the Thornwood War. But that version gave him gave D3 +3 faction non-character warrior models +3 speed, mat, rat, and defense and arm, and a additional +3 to their melee attack damage rolls, which it seems pretty powerful. But if you put Vladimir into a bunch of units, and yet with his 14-inch control range, giving them all +2 speed and +2 to their damage is kind of way better, especially with some of the units of the menoth that we'll be going over later. But let's go over his Mark III spells and see how those look. He has Ashes to Ashes, so if target model is hit, D3 of the nearest models within 4 inches suffer a POW 10 fire drill. These additional attacks are not considered to have caused by an attack, and its attacks are simultaneous. And it's a range 8 power 10 spell, so being able to hit a bunch of people with a power 10 fire damage is useful, especially for low armored targets. Creator's Wrath. The spellcaster gains an additional die on melee attack and melee damage rolls, and when making a melee attack, the caster ignores spell effects that add to the target's defense and arm, which is very similar to one of his abilities that he had. I think it's Martial Paragon. Yeah, it is very similar to Martial Paragon. Yeah, being able to add an additional die to all your melee attack rolls, and this only costs 2 for a caster who has 7 focus, and it's upkeepable. So yeah, that's a terrifying spell, because he's automatically giving himself Weapon Master, and it's an additional die, so he can boost it on top of that, and it gives him Blessed with that. Yeah, it's just that is a heck of a broken spell. And
I imagine that's one of the reasons why they gave him his 2 swords instead of the one big one. Because yeah, in this particular version, that is a super dangerous spell. Then he has Defender's Ward. Target friendly faction model / unit gain +2 defense and arm. And yeah, that's about it. It's upkeepable as well, so you can keep one of your units, or especially your heavy armored units or your heavy defense units, alive for a little bit longer. Immolation, because every Menite Warcaster has to have a fire spell. I think that's a rule that we've gone over. I don't think we've seen a Menite Warcaster who does not have some sort of fire spell to cleanse the unbeliever. So Immolation causes fire damage, and on critical hit, models hit suffer fire continuous effect. Easy, easy. Then we have Signs and Portents, which is one of Vladimir's basic spells. While in the spellcaster's control range, friendly faction models gain an additional die on attack and damage rolls, and then you discard the lowest roll in each roll. So, yeah, you put the dice forever in your favor. And this matches up with his, Creator's Wrath as well. So, he rolls 4 dice, kicks rid of the lowest one, and then he can boost it if he feels like it. So, yeah. Very dangerous melee Warcaster. Thank goodness he's not in Mark IV, because I feel like he would break a lot of stuff. Or in the Mark IV, they might change up some of his spells so he's a little bit less powerful for balance. We'll see how that happens. But